So just like we did for the first floor, we're going to have a very similar approach to the second floor where we're going to be knocking out our windows and we're going to be adding components. So looking at this, I'm going to actually start with drawing A-01 and I'm going to be adding the windows associated with that. So we've got basically a window here that's going to be above the door that we're actually going to come back and add after we've added the roof overhang. But I do have these three windows that are actually stacked right on top of this window, these three windows on the first floor. So basically what I'm going to do here, just like I did previously, I've got information here that tells me the top of the window header is 4 feet 11.25 inches. So I'm going ahead and I'm making my my construction lines for that. So I got that information off drawing A-01. Now in order to figure out exactly where these windows are, I'm going to be looking at drawing A-04. So looking at this, I can see from the edge, my center, from the edge of the building to the center of my window is 3 feet 6 inches. And my next spot, I'm going to make sure I did that one right. So something seems a little fishy there, so let me just make sure it's correct. So I'm going to go over 3 feet 6 inches. The next spacing on my window is 5 feet 6 inches. And of course these are lining up with the first floor windows, which makes sense. 5 feet 6 inches. Okay, so looking at this, I'm looking back at drawing A-01 and I see that they're calling out window number 6. Well, I've got a rough opening of 3 feet 3/4 inches by 3 feet 3/4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually pop in those windows. I can see I can set an offset here. So going down 3 feet 0.75 inches. So that's going to be my window and I'm going to offset that. So I'm going to be offsetting these windows half of 3 feet 3/4 inches. So it's 1 feet 6.375 inches. So I'm going to be doing that on each side. And of course they're lining up with, so 1 feet 6.375 inches. They're lining up with the windows below. Shocker. So 1 feet 6.375 inches. 1 feet 3.675 inches. That one does not look right. So let's see. 1 feet 6.375 inches. So I'm doing this just like I did on the first floor. Okay, so now I've got my openings where my windows are going to go. So now I can draw some rectangles here and I'm going to punch these out. So that's going to be my first thing that I'm going to do here. So I've got this. Wait until it says on face, and ta-da, I've punched out my openings for my windows. Okay, so I've got those three set. So I'm going to be moving around my house now. So rotating this way, I'm going to delete my guide so I can get those out of there and see what the hell I'm doing. And I can see I've got some windows on this side as well. So we've got 4 feet 11.25 inches is my window header again. And if I look at plans A-03, I can see that my first window is spaced 4 feet over, so 4 feet. And spacing between windows is 12 feet. So it should mesh up with what we got going on the bottom. And looking at drawing A-01 again, I can see that these are also window 6s, so that's nice because I already know the dimensions for that. So we're going to go down 3 feet 0.75 inches and we're going to offset this again. So I've got 1 feet 6.375 inches, 1 feet 6.375 inches. So you get the idea. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to punch out all the windows that I can on the second floor. So I'm going to actually pause the video and do all that, and we can come back in here and compare. Okay, so I literally have absolutely everything ready now, where I've gone out and I have punched out all the windows that I possibly can. So what I'm going to be doing though, I actually have on the back side here, back side of my house, I have 2 windows up here which are actually window 3 components, and we already actually made those, and they're actually right below here. So I'm going to just copy and paste those and save myself the trouble of making some additional components that I've already made. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop those right in. And so that's a good start. And then I've got that window 6 was all the other windows, and I don't have any of those yet, so I'm going to have to make some components. So just to refresh how we went about doing that, so I'm going to start by, I'm going to make a rectangle right where my hole used to be. And I am struggling today apparently. So let's see here. For whatever reason, I couldn't get the rectangle tool to work, so if I drew a line here using my pencil tool, it actually worked. So, like everything, computer programs have glitches, and more than likely it's probably user error, and in the effort of time here, I'm just gonna use the pencil tool. So, I've got what's gonna be my Windows 6 component. So just like before, I'm going to pull it off to the side so I don't accidentally mess up anything in my house. I'm going to select the bounding edges. I'm going to make it a component. We're going to call this window number 6. And okay, so once I've got that, I can go in here and I can edit this. So first things first, we need to make the frame. So I like to offset that 1 inch, and then I'm going to use my push-pull command. My exterior walls are 6 inches, so I'm going to pull that out. And now I'm going to go about making my center frame. And I'm using this as a guide, so I'm looking actually at the window to use it as a guide. So I offset this again 1 more time, so 1 inch, and then I've got my frame that I'm going to build here. So I'm going to offset this. And then just like before, I'm going to go through and I'm going to make my little decorative frame. I'm going to paint the windows, all of the above. You guys get the idea. Okay. So I'm just gonna, I could pause the video now and to save you guys the time, but just in case you forgot how to do this, I'm just gonna do this with you here. So I'm going about and making my little decorative frame for my window, and now I get to paint everything. So I am going to look for my translucent coloring. And let's see, the glass type I like is this one. And I've also painted all my other windows wood coloring, so I should do that as well. I picked the cherry wood. So now I'm going to paint every surface of this. So I'm going through, and just like we did previously for the first floor when I was making my components. So make sure absolutely every surface is painted. And now I can pop this window right into place. Okay, so I've made my component, and I've got, let me see how many of these I punched out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. So I'm going to just do Control C, Control V, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now I'm just going to pop these into place where they go. So this is, again, no different than what we did on the first floor, so I can make this quick and easy here. And make sure, if you aren't saving your work, please make sure you're saving often. I guarantee if you don't, that'll be the one time your computer crashes. So these all have to be rotated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this first, and then I'm going to copy that one. So let's see here. So I'm going to rotate this out, and I'm going to copy. I need 2 more of these. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plop these down literally right where they need to go in my window. So okay, so that is literally all of the windows that I can put in currently on the second floor. And once I add those roof overhangs, and there's also a window here in the garage I'm going to have to add later. But for now, this is a pretty good start. So what I'm going to do next, after I save this, is I'm going to turn off some of my layers, because I want to make sure all those windows I had are actually all on the second floor. So I'm going to turn everything off, and as I can see, they're not. So looks like I accidentally added them on the first floor layer. So let's do this. I'm going to turn off the second floor and the roof, and I'm going to grab these windows and make sure that they're all on the second floor layer. Okay. So I'm going to, like I said, you're going to make sure that they're all on the second floor. Interesting. What is going on here? So I'm making sure literally everything's on the second floor associated with those windows. Because you'll find when I'm grading this one, I'm going to be turning layers off and on, and also when you're stacking stuff, it's way easier if everything's on a specific layer. So, and interesting. It is still showing up on the first floor. Huh. So, apparently it's on both floors. This is very peculiar. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to click on these components. They're showing up on the second floor, so that is very weird. One of those glitches, I suppose. Anyway, it's telling me that when I click on them independently, they are a part of the second floor layer. You can see up here it's showing up as second floor, because if I click on something that isn't the second floor, it changes up here and says first floor. So apparently they're on the right layer, so that's the important part. Okay, so big thing now, I am going to go on the inside here, and I'm going to be adding my doors and closet doors, etc., etc., etc. So in order to do that, though, I want to make sure I've got my first floor off. I do not want to accidentally grab something that is part of the first floor and start manipulating it. So that'll be the next video. We're going to be adding our interior doors and really kind of getting close to actually finishing out the majority of this project.